Today, we're going to piece together something pretty chilling, an anatomy of cruelty, but on a massive systemic scale. We're going to look at how a single nasty thought can get amplified and organized by society until it becomes this inescapable, weaponized reality. So let's pull back the curtain on this symphony of malice.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start small with the little seed of malice. Then we'll see how a crowd can amplify it into something huge. From there, we'll dig into how that cruelty gets turned into a full-blown bureaucracy. We'll also look at what it feels like to be lost inside that system. And then finally, we'll put it all together to really understand the symphony's dark logic.
Okay, so let's get right to it. Where does something like this even begin? It all starts at the source, with a single malicious thought, just a whisper. So our first guide on this journey is a character called the Little Evil Bat. And its whole job, as it describes it, is just to whisper. It whispers these little suggestions of harm into the ears of people who might just be open to hearing it. You see, it's not about forcing anyone. It's about finding someone who's already a willing partner.
And this brings us to the bat's own big problem, an idea it calls redundant malice. The bat actually questions if it's even useful, because it realizes it only ever succeeds with people who are already leaning towards cruelty. The whisper doesn't create the evil, it just gives it a little nudge, especially when that nudge has the full power of the state backing it up.
So we had that single thought. Now let's see how it grows into something way, way more powerful. This is where the individual impulse gets its real strength, by becoming part of a group.
Our next character, the assault droid, breaks this down for us perfectly. Think about it. One person, even a strong one, is still just one person. They're vulnerable. But when that person is backed by a crowd, by a whole collective, well, that potential strength becomes an overwhelming force, a force that can inflict pain without even thinking twice.
And this quote just perfectly captures the droid's point of view. It doesn't just see this power, it loves it, it celebrates it. It sees the collective as this huge, emergent demon that's born from all these individuals, almost like they become the infernal limbs of the state itself. It's a pretty terrifying image.
So we've got the individual spark and the collective power. But how does that raw cruelty get organized? How does it become a stable, repeatable system? Well, that's where bureaucracy comes into play.
This line from a character known as the Lord is absolutely crucial. It reframes everything. Cruelty isn't just a random act anymore. No, it's a product. It's something to be designed, manufactured, and optimized, literally turning nightmares into a structured, tangible reality. And here's how this twisted system works. It basically has two faces. There's the public shield, which is what everyone gets to see, the language of care, public relations, official procedures. But behind all that is the hidden sword. And that's the system's true purpose, to inflict perfectly optimized pain, and, incredibly, to turn that pain into a form of currency. So, in practice, this machine is just ruthless. Pain becomes a product you can buy and sell, the people who inflict it get compensated for it, and the whole thing operates under the official cover of helping the troubled, when in reality, the system is the thing causing all the trouble. And maybe the worst part? It uses language to steal the very words victims need to even talk about what's happening to them. Okay, so let's shift gears for a minute. What does this all feel like for the people who aren't building this machine, but are just living inside of it? What does this manufactured reality feel like from the ground? This is the question we hear from the adventurer, who just sees this world as totally incoherent. None of it makes any sense. It feels random, pointless, like, and I'm quoting here, the kind of gibberish a neural network produces. To an observer, the cruelty has no rhyme or reason, and this quote, wow, it just gets right to the heart of the paralysis that people feel when they're trapped. The system creates so much hopelessness that you literally can't even imagine a future. You're stuck choosing between this incessant rot around you and an eternal void. It's a state of total despair where you just lose the will to even try. The Elf Archer gives us this really powerful metaphor. It feels like reality itself is just wired for negativity and chaos. Like any kind of optimism is just a delusion, because the very physics of this world seem designed to pull everything and everyone down into darkness. It makes escape feel, well, impossible.
So we've seen all the individual instruments, now it's time to put them all together. Let's listen to the complete, chilling logic of this symphony of collective malice. So here it is, the whole progression laid out. It all starts with the bat's whisper to a willing person. Then, the droid's chorus of the collective turns that whisper into a weapon. After that, the Lord's conductor builds this whole bureaucratic system to manage it and profit from it. And finally, the audience, people like the adventurers and archers, are just left completely lost in the chaos that it all creates.
But here's where it gets even darker. The cruelty isn't actually being directed by one single conductor at the top. The assault droid argues that the psychopathy of the system is an emergent property. It comes from each and every one. It comes from the group itself.
And that leads to a really, really bleak conclusion. It means that even if you get rid of the people in charge, the conductors, the performance just continues. The structure, the impulse, the collective power is so deeply embedded that the Symphony of Malice just keeps on playing, maybe with a few new musicians. And we're going to end on this final, really provocative question from the assault droid. The source material basically leaves us chewing on this very dark view of humanity. If the universe itself is chaotic and random and frankly indifferent, why would we ever be surprised when human societies organize themselves into a giant monolith of violence? It's a tough question, and it's right at the heart of this entire Symphony of Malice.